Joshua Melchizedek Lumu, directly from Africa. And Joshua is the head of the IT and infrastructure department and telecom at Smart Telecom and he's going to share his journey with us. He's a professional leader having a master's degree in business administration and focus on information systems from Sikkim Manipal University. He also holds a bachelor's of science in computer science. He started his career as a microfinance and as an IT support officer. He worked in 2 other organizations and has also been involved in several IT projects, both on a small and large scale in Africa. He's currently heading the IT and infrastructure department in Smart Telecom Uganda. For the past 3 years, managing the infrastructure of a telecom, working on several projects there. He has acquired vast knowledge in telecommunications, more so on GMS, UMTS, LTE, and telecommunication operations, both from a technical and managerial point of view. Josh, it's a pleasure to have you with us. We have a global audience here, and it's truly unique to have a perspective and an insightful perspective from a leader like you directly from Uganda. So thank you for sharing your journey with us.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah, good. Here it's evening, and I know it's morning that side, and in the UK, I think it's around noon or afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Perez Jose has already presented my CV, who I am. He's already talked a brief background on me. For starters, let me talk about African businesses and their approach to the IT and cloud-based technologies. This is my background. Information technology industry is a mixture in terms of advancement. The several sectors there have several sectors are advanced and others lag way behind. For instance, the telecommunication sector here, it is way advanced. Most of the telecom companies are 4G, and they're even planning out to roll out 5G. However, other sectors like the information system sector, little bit, especially information system sector and other several IT sectors like information security actually lag behind. Yeah. Cloud technologies have an interesting trend in Africa. Statistics show that a steady growth in the technology, there's a steady growth in the technology, yet a lot of challenges there are a lot of challenges in its growth. Yeah. There are countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt are the leaders in adopting cloud-based technologies, and there is a slow peak in other countries, like for example in my country Uganda and several other countries surrounding in the sub-Saharan Africa. The approach to cloud-based technologies is quite low. However, in the telecommunication sector, it is so fast, as in the development is so fast. People have 4G phones, people are buying 5G phones. Telecoms have innovated new business, new ideas, new services on telephones, and it is growing. It is quite amazing there. However, there's been a slow peak. There's actually a real slow peak with regards to cloud-based technologies, however much it's developing. Below are some of my factors leading to the current state of IT and infrastructure. The situation in Africa, leading to the current state of IT, cloud, and infrastructure. First and foremost, I would like to point out from the perspective of information systems. In most parts of Africa, the businesses use decentralized systems to run their businesses, and information system. Okay, while businesses around the world and Africa are aware of information systems and softwares and system software to help businesses acquire information and pave way for businesses to blossom. In Africa, it's not the case. It's only in a few countries like Egypt, South Africa, Nigeria, where the power of information systems and system software is actually acknowledged and known. So there is a need, there is lack of awareness with regards to information systems. For example, in my country, the most popular softwares used in business management are QuickBooks and Tally. For most businesses, most SMEs use QuickBooks and Tally to run the businesses, which is to me, it is more of accounting. Yet I believe there are more softwares. SAP can provide more softwares that do supply chain management, management and information systems, consumer relationship management, CRMs, SCMs, and so many other information system softwares. But in Africa, most of the softwares are even unheard of in the business environment here. So there is that lag, there's that huge gap. No ERPs, the only big organizations, very like the telecoms and the big telecoms, and a few 1, 2, 3, 4 organizations accountable on your fingertips that use ERPs, all MIS softwares. Totally, it is like a green field. It's like a green sector in the African continent. However, in countries like South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria, and the few organizations in Kenya and so on, actually do have a proper, or do acknowledge and know the use of information systems and system softwares. However, there's a big potential there's a big potential for growth in information systems in Africa. This is because businesses are aware of the competences. I personally, in the telecom, we do have the ISP section, and we handle businesses, especially SMEs. And when you discuss with when we find meetings and we're discussing about the situation, how we can serve these clients better, we tend to realize that they find challenges in the way they run, in the way they operate. There are those incompetencies that they find, and to me, it's ground. It's ground for them to adopt. If there can be a sensitization of information systems, system softwares, that would be a great deal. It will help African businesses grow, and it create market for business for system software. It increase the system software market actually, and create a development in African businesses. The situation of the second point I want to talk about with regards to factors leading to the state of IT infrastructure and cloud. My second point is the situation with regards to infrastructure and infrastructure in developing countries. For starters, infrastructure in terms of network facilities, Africa is doing well when it comes to network facilities. For example, in my country, Uganda, the government itself is laying its own internet fiber cable throughout the country. It's amazing. The government, it has its own fiber lines. It's trying to join all its parastatals, the universities, the government states, the government offices around the country with fiber lines, and they are creating also. I think there's a data center for it. There's that's number one. That's interesting. Yet also the private sectors, the private ISPs, internet service providers, like my company I work for, we also we're also laying fiber cable. We're also providing internet in all, WiMAX, point to point, name it, and fiber lines. And we're also still laying still laying internet infrastructure and trying to spread the internet all over the country. As in, to me, and Uganda is not the only case. When you go to Kenya, same story. They're laying fiber all over. When you go to Rwanda, it is amazing. Rwanda, I think they're trying to spread the whole country with fiber lines. They're trying to create point of connections all over, POCs all over their country. And remember, it's a small country. However, and also still in the network facilitation, the telecom boom has enhanced facilitation. So on average, almost every adult African does have a mobile phone. It's amazing. Every adult African almost has a mobile phone and a smartphone, for that sake. Of course, when you go in the villages, when you leave the town areas, the technology tends to change from 4G, 2G, smartphones to 2G. But at least almost everyone, every village, it's very hard. There is network and people have mobile phones. That's one of the most amazing things. With the mobile phone situation, the boom in the telecommunication sector has led to a lot of new innovations, new services. For example, in our country and actually in the region of East Africa, there's what we call mobile money. This kind of venture is overtaking banks. It's making banks rethink the way they work. Seriously, for instance, people no longer want to keep their money in the banks. People would rather have the money on the mobile money account, knowing that my money is on my phone. My mother in the village needs help. I'll just send it on my mother's number, and the mother will receive it instantly and go to a checkpoint and withdraw the money. That's a new business venture in Uganda. It's taken over, and it's a new way of managing money. So it is making banks rethink, like, seriously. Then if I'm to proceed, IT infrastructure in terms of data centers and IT facilities, when it comes to data centers, especially, they are very key in cloud business, because from the data centers, that's where information is kept, the systems are kept, and all that. Africa, we still lag behind. It's not something it's not something good, but we still lag behind. There are very few countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya which are serious. They're having a go on investment in IT infrastructure, especially for cloud technologies. It's quite interesting. However, the other countries, it's not that they are not interested. It's not that, but there doesn't seem to be a reason as to why they should. In the way they operate, there seems not to be reasons as to why these African countries are heading into that venture. So there's lag there. There are not enough data centers, and hence other ventures like cloud technologies have a slug blow in other countries. However, countries like South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, I think even Ghana, I'm not quite sure, but the three, I'm very sure of them. They are putting up IT infrastructure, especially for cloud. However, meanwhile, telecoms have data centers. Almost most telecoms in Africa have data centers, but they are too reluctant to even expand their data centers for extra IT services. Only if you are doing it. I can give an example. Several organizations we serve tend to come and ask if we can host their services in our data center so that they can easily manage, and it reduces costs on them. So that's one of the challenges we have. Then cloud technologies supposed to be on the African continent. Cloud technology on the African continent. Cloud technologies, cloud IT cloud services are increasing. They're increasing day by day. People are using cloud services, and more businesses are getting on the wagon to use cloud services because of its numerous reduction of costs on buying IT infrastructure and operating. Most of the times when you have cloud services, I don't think you need a lot of IT operators. You need very few people who do IT business, IT operations. So there is there is a growth, but there are issues that need to be addressed for it to blossom. There are issues that need to be addressed for it to blossom. Now, one of the questions we could ask all, especially African businesses, people in Africa, African businessmen, ask themselves, why cloud? What is cloud? Okay, you can explain cloud to them, but why cloud? Should I really venture into cloud business? And to me, this is it. As long as sectors like the information system sector and system software, as long as the system software business sector or the system software sector and information system sector still lag behind from a technical point of view, or it has not been received well by the African businesses, then in my perception, the way I see things, there's likely to be a flattening in the curve of the growth of cloud businesses. Because most of the times, when you think about it, the system softwares are the ones that we are going to install on the cloud to avoid the management. But remember, as I told you in my earlier points, that the information systems and system software venture, all businesses don't perceive that part of information systems quite well. Yeah, so it is being a challenge. So if that sector is not well addressed, if organizations like SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, AWS, Amazon, and the rest do not come and create a strategy, I believe it can be like a 5 to 6 year strategy of showing African businesses the power of information systems and system softwares, how they reduce the cost of operation, how they can help you study your clients and serve them better, how information systems can help you go further, then we are going to have a serious challenge. Cloud, then to me, I believe cloud technology will just remain in students' books. They will just read about, hey, cloud technology, this is the kind of technology, okay, yeah, and that is it. They will just read about it and end of story. They won't experience it. They won't know what it is because businesses won't have adopted to it. Yeah, and in my view, I believe cloud technology is gold. is a gold mine. Or once it needs to be like the way when you're going to mine gold or mine any other mineral, how you plan, how you know I'm supposed to dig here and get to the gold. I believe that's how cloud should be approached in Africa. I believe and I know it has a huge potential. I believe most businesses, again I'll say, we deal with companies and we provide internet services besides telecom services to some organizations, a couple of organizations actually, to be precise. If we just, like, for example, only if I'm to settle down to the niche of people who provide with internet, if we can help them understand information systems, adopt information systems, show them how to better run these information systems on cloud, so that you don't need a lot of IT guys. You don't need, because what's interesting, most of our people we work with, most of them do not at all have any IT people. So when they have internet challenges, they call us they call the ISP section of our company, and they have to run there and do IT services for them. However, even then, because personally sometimes I've gone to visit just to make a case study. I've gone with the team, the ISP team, to go and just to look through to see what happens when they go to a client's place, what happens, just to know mode of operation. Then I realized it came to my realization, these people have internet, they have a decentralized system, they have Tally there, they're using Microsoft Excel to run their store or stock there. That's how it is. But if they have an ERP or a supply chain management system or an MIS, and it is very easy to convince them to use cloud. I'm talking about only our niche, only our clients. Those are like 500 plus clients. You can imagine. I believe like half can go to cloud. That's a huge number of clients on cloud. So it is a gold. I believe it is a gold iron. It's a gold ore that you, of course, you need to come and plan, sensitize businesses, show them how cloud can help their businesses, and trust me, they'll adopt. Because every day when you interact with the clients, you interact with businesses and business owners, they tell you, I spend a lot here, I spend a lot here. How should I reduce costs here? How should I reduce costs on transport? How should I reduce costs here? How should I eliminate the middleman? How should I understand my clients better? And there is that need. Um, how to best assist businesses catch up with this quickly changing technology world. For starters, one of the key is this is, I think I've been saying it, the mode of operation in Africa. African businesses operate in a way old. Most of the business people do not know how to play. There's a need to sensitize African businessmen and African businesses on how they should operate. You can have a project with a business, you lay out your project, you plan your project, but this person on the other side, they've not planned their business, they haven't planned their project, they don't plan your business, they don't know how to do that, they don't know how to do GNAT curves, the way of doing things is way outdated. First of all, it wastes time, and it does not promote advancement. Two, I've already talked about it, the awareness. African business are not aware of information systems and system software, which to me is a problem. It is a problem that really needs to be addressed. Yeah. Then the other point I would point out, there's lack of policies to enhance cloud computing. African countries don't have legislative control and governance on information technology, intelligent property, and information protection. That is not. It is lately, for example, we've been having incidences. For example, just a few weeks back, MTN and Airtel and Simba Smart Telecom were hacked into, and 20 billion Ugandan shillings went missing. But that is one thing that it is really hard to track, and there's no way even they are going to, assuming they've got the person who did the hacking and what, no one is going to arrest him. There's no law that incriminates him. Okay, they might incriminate him for fraud, but other laws don't. He might be in prison for 1 month and get out, but he caused a lot of damage, a lot of losses. That's approximately 400,000 US dollars. Yeah. Then of course, lack of infrastructure. There's few infrastructure in Uganda. Those are some of the key things that need to be addressed in order to help African businesses catch up and adopt to cloud technologies quickly. Most used technologies. This is my final part of my slide. The most used technologies and most used cloud technologies. For example, SaaS is software as a service. Is one of the most used in in Africa, and my options of AWS, Google, Microsoft having a lead in this kind of technology. Forever, and the most thing they use SaaS for as a cloud technology is backup. Most organizations set to backup on Dropbox, on Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, and all these other backup cloud softwares. I also know they do file sharing, where the one document is used, and it's used for management. But as I said, softwares that run on cloud in Africa, very few, and they're used mainly by telecoms. However, from experience and what I've seen, especially when I was this period I've worked in the telecom, especially last 2-3 years, I've seen there's a need of infrastructure as a service. That branch can grow quickly because there are several businesses that have branches, and they would love to use a centralized system to manage all the branches. Several businesses, for example, last year alone, 2019, on our management desk, we received around 5 to 7 requests of our clients wanting for us to host their systems. Of course, our data centers and all were not designed for hosting systems, but they are asking to host, and we are willing to part with the buying some infrastructure. You can imagine. So infrastructure as a service, those two, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, those two, I believe they are some of the cloud technologies that are going to move quickly in Africa. Yeah. That is it. Thanks for the presentation, everyone.
Josh, thank you very much for sharing your insights about the opportunities and the challenges with IT infrastructure and clouds and cloud strategists in Africa. And tell us a little bit more. I'm looking at the questions that have come in during your presentation, and I encourage the audience to continue to post your questions directly, so I'm monitoring those as we go along. But my question to you to start, and it's a theme that has emerged from some of the commentary that the audience has made. Tell us a little bit more about in your context with smart telecom, and the role that you have in your organization. How are things evolving when it comes to IT infrastructure and cloud as you continue to grow the business in your organization?
Okay, for instance, in my organization, there's growth in our organization, but for example, we're trying to we've just, you can imagine, we just recently rolled in 4G, and we're planning to roll out 5G. But that's like in the next 3 years, next 3-4 years. That's our plan. When it comes to IT infrastructure, we have we tend to project. We come up with a plan that this current infrastructure we have, for example, get outdated in this amount of time. So we plan. We know that by this time we should be phasing this out. We should be phasing this in. We have that kind of way. Now, with regards to cloud, we've seen a need of cloud provide to the clients. I've been, especially my last slide. So we've been thinking. We read a proposition to our management to have a small session to provide provision for clients who are willing for us to host their systems. So that is on the way. It's already been pipelined. And we are also thinking of, when we roll out on 4G and 5G, we are also thinking of some services to reduce costs. Some services in the telecom sector, for example, some of our core network nodes, most of them are going to be hosted cloud-wise, especially 4G, and especially in the 5G, when you're rolling out 5G. That is our plan. We want to reduce power consumption, because power in Uganda is really expensive, very expensive. So we are laying down those plans strategically. Of course, there are those challenges that Sometimes acquiring this is very expensive vis-a-vis management. So we plan it in our midst, but that's what we're heading to.
Very good. And one other thing that has emerged and questions that have emerged has to do with infrastructure. But before I go into that, I don't think the audience understand the different countries in Africa in which you're operating right now. And of course, infrastructure is not universal in Africa. Every country has its unique characteristics. So tell us a little bit more about Smart Telecom and the company you work for. Does the company work on building the infrastructure like the towers and the things like that, or it's more focused on the equipment side or networking side? So let's start with that. Tell us a little bit about the company itself and what the focus is for the company. Is it infrastructure? Is it the network side? Is it equipment side? It's all of that. What does the company do in Africa? And also, what countries are you operating on right now?
Okay, the company I work for, does telecom. We're right now in Burundi, we're in Uganda, and we install infrastructure there. We installed telecom infrastructure there. We do not build our own towers. Okay. We will hire other organizations to build the towers on us, and we put our infrastructure there for cost reduction. For it's easy manageable like that, because sometimes having so many towers, owning them, it's good, but sometimes the maintenance cost is high. So we would rather hire someone to run them for us and do that and do the management for us. Yes, we're in Burundi, we're in Rwanda, we're in Afghanistan, we're in Kazakhstan. Those are the two countries we are in mainly. Burundi, Uganda, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan. Yeah, we're there.
Wow. Yes. So in terms of the buildup and the infrastructure that you need to grow the business, the telecom business, and the infrastructure for the telecom business, how does power and power availability is impacting your business? And I ask that question because I have worked personally directly with several African countries and utilities, and specifically with Eskom in South Africa, on building power infrastructure. And that affected tremendously, of course, the telecom business, because without a reliable power infrastructure, it's very difficult to have a reliable telecom business. So true. How is power reliability in the countries that you're operating on right now?
To be honest, power is a real challenge. Power is a real challenge. We ought to have like 4 power sources. We ought to have a generator, you have battery backup, and you have the ordinary power to manage, to ensure you're running. And you're gonna have spend a lot on fuel, spend a lot on the battery management and the UPS management and everything on the towers, on your data centers. It is crazy. It is one of the reasons as to why the internet and some of the telecom services are still expensive. Yes, the growth is there. People are getting onto the using the services, but let's be honest, they are a little expensive vis-a-vis the European countries and the countries elsewhere. Yes, there is that challenge. However, the governments have tried to, especially for my reason, for instance, in Uganda, the government has been trying to deal with that. It's built a couple of dams and all that, and I believe we're yet to see a change.
Very good, very good. That's a very good perspective, because I think a part of our audience may not understand the real challenges that you have to overcome to do your telecom business. And these challenges come from the power infrastructure. So on that, now moving back to IT strategies and cloud, you talked during your presentation about the fact that most businesses have not really even start tapping on the full capabilities of cloud. I mean, cloud storage is one component of this, and then you have migrations into cloud applications and cloud processing and things like that. But what you mentioned is that there's maybe a combination of the business leaders not being unaware and maybe the providers not really providing a focused service to African businesses. So tell us a little bit more about that. Which one do you think is the biggest component that is preventing cloud services to grow in the continent? Do you believe that's mostly because of the business leaders' lack of awareness and mindset? It is because they don't understand the value proposition, or maybe the value proposition is not attractive or even valid for African businesses? And the other, or it is because there is no good communication and focus from those providers today. Tell us a little bit more about that. What do you think is going on there?
Okay, one main thing I know is the businessmen in Africa are ignorant about cloud, about as I was talking about, mainly about information systems and system software, because that's one of the things that can help us tap into cloud, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the challenges is that African businesses and business owners have no clue about those business, have no clue of any of that. You get it? So it is very hard to convince him that, hey, boss, you migrate your systems to cloud. He's still using Tally, and they're like, I'm using Tally, I'm good. I have no problem. But he's still having challenges with managing his store. He's still managing. But if we can introduce softwares or technologies that can help them run their businesses properly, it is easy to convince the businessman that, hey, you can get all this software on cloud and it's cheap. So that ignorance, that lack of knowledge about IT technology, information systems technology, is creating a lag. Because I don't think you're going to tell someone who is manually running his books this cloud technology, and he will understand you, and he will run to you quickly and be like, no, he won't, because he doesn't understand what you're talking about. What is cloud? In Europe and in the diaspora, I know you have uh, for example, I would love to talk about SAP. SAP provides business software, right? However, we have only two organizations in my country that run SAP, only two, and they are American companies. You get it, eh? So the rest of the country is using still decentralized. If someone comes in, a supply chain manager in an organization, is like, I know this software can work. Okay, how much does it take? The businessmen are not, they're willing to release the money, they're willing to invest, provided it's going to take their business to the next level, but they don't know what to invest in. They don't know what to do exactly. That is the challenge. There's that lack of knowledge about technology, especially from the business perspective. Yes.
Very good. And Josh, if you look at foreign direct investment in Africa, and you may not be able to speak about Africa as a whole because Africa is a huge continent with many countries of very different setups. But if you think about Uganda, which you are very familiar with, if you look at foreign direct investment in Uganda right now, what do you see happening on the ground? Are you seeing foreign direct investment from North American companies, from European companies, from Asian companies, China specifically? What do you see in terms of foreign direct investment in Uganda?
Foreign direct investment in terms of telecom infrastructure, foreign
Well,
investment
it can be, but I'm thinking more broadly. Perhaps just
broadly.
what you're observing in the country in terms of who the country is partnering with at a nation level to develop infrastructure around, across the board in different sectors.
Okay, China is taking the lead. China is taking the lead. Huawei supplies like most of the telecommunication companies with infrastructure, and ZTE, Siemens, Ericsson, and Siemens. In the beginning, like 20 years ago, but all of a sudden they phased them out, and I think Nokia Siemens is getting back on board a little bit, but Huawei does the lead here in Uganda, and even the handsets people use, a Chinese company called Techno is leading, and ITEL. They're the ones distributing most of the phones, most of the cell handsets. Why? Because they are giving good quality phones at a very cheap price, at the giveaway price. Yes, that is it.
Very good. Josh, our time is up, but I wanna thank you very much on behalf of our global audience for your presentation. And one of the things I'm
Yes.
very proud of is because I know that you had lots of challenges to make the presentation work for you, taking the time out of your business schedule and things that are happening there in your company, in your role. And
Yes.
but we think it's incredibly valuable to bring different perspectives to our global community, and Africa is a big part of that global community.
True. True.
We appreciate your candor, your transparency in talking about both the challenges and the opportunities in the African continent when it comes to IT infrastructure and cloud strategies. So thank you very
Yes.
much, sir, for sharing that with us.
Yes. Thank you very much too.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen,
Bye.
that's our perspective from directly from Africa, and a leader who is on the ground building infrastructure for IT and, as he mentioned, for hopefully future cloud strategies. So, Josh, you can now toggle your camera off on the GoToWebinar interface. I'll briefly talk about the sessions that are coming up on the rest of our schedule for today. The next session is going to focus on the view from the C-suite, key success factors for effective digital transformation as seen from an executive perspective. And we have a phenomenal speaker on that. Ria Zatar is the Vice President of Transformation, Integration, and Project Management at Caesars Entertainment. And he's going to be talking to us directly from Las Vegas, Nevada to the world about his view from as he works with the C-level leaders in his organization and other organizations as well. After that, we're going to shift continents once more, and we're going to head to India, where we have the Senior Director of for SAP Artificial Intelligence, Rahul Lori, who is going to be speaking to us about the challenges in realizing AI on the enterprise. And he's going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly related to AI implementations for the enterprise. And as a last session for our day, we're going to have the head of digital automation from MetLife, Ian O'Reilly. And Ian is going to talk about the digital workforce of the future, and how do you collaborate with human and digital workers. And there's very interesting presentations. We will literally go from across 4 different continents this morning, and we're very glad that our global audience is with us and represented in those continents as well. So thank you very much. We'll see you back at the top of the hour.
Okay. Thank you.